Nigerian Senate passes vote of confidence on security chiefs after national security interaction. Police arrest notorious kidnapper, recover 9 million naira ransom payment. Gas explosion rocks Lagos community. On the foreign scene, dozens die in Democratic Republic of Congo boat accident. Hello and welcome to the Trust TV News Update at this hour. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for joining us. Now the news in full. I will begin with a security update. The Nigerian Senate, after over 10 hours of closed-door session with ministers and service chiefs to discuss Nigeria's national security challenges, passed the vote of confidence in the managers of Nigeria's security architecture. The vote of confidence passed in the security chiefs by the Senate was read by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. Let's take a look at the report.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, in reading the resolution of the Nigerian Senate, took the decision after listening to submissions made by the various security chiefs on the latest onslaughts against criminal elements in the country. The upper chamber of the National Assembly commended the President on his efforts towards addressing the security challenges bedeviling Nigerians across the country. The Senate also commended service chiefs and urged them to follow all the suggestions and revelations for further improvement of the security situation in the country.
The Senate listened to the comprehensive briefings by the National Security Advisor and briefings from the security chiefs on the state of the nation, particularly the state of security and insecurity, including reported issues of killings, kidnappings, and other criminal activities currently bedeviling the nation. The Senate then stressed the urgent need for the security agencies to adopt proper synergy in their operations to tackle the insecurity in the country.
Also speaking to journalists after the closed-door session of the Nigerian Senate, Senate spokesperson Senator Yemi Adaramodu offered further insight into the discussions at the executive session. Senator Adaramodu justified the vote of confidence passed on the service chiefs as he maintains that the Right Chamber of the National Assembly is impressed with the determination and proactive measures being put in place to mitigate security challenges.
We listened to them. They told us so many other issues. We related with them about our experiences and the experiences of our constituents, what they have been facing, samples of what had happened, the horrendous situations that Nigerians were, the parlous situations that Nigerians were. So examples of what happened even in Abuja here. So under the service chiefs, they even allayed our fears.
In attendance were Minister of Defense Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, his counterpart in the Ministry of Interior Olubumi Tunjiojo, and Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister Wale Edun. Other ministers are the State Minister of Defense Bello Matawale, the Minister of Police Affairs Ibrahim Gaidam, and the Minister of State for Police Affairs Iman Suleiman Ibrahim. Security chiefs at the meeting include the Chief of Defense Staff, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director General of the DSS and the NIA.
The operatives of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command have arrested 7 notorious wanted kidnappers and also recovered 9 million naira ransom cash. The police commissioner in FCT, Benneth Igwe, while parading the suspects at the command on Wednesday, said the wanted kidnappers were arrested by operatives of the Utako Police Division led by CSP Victor Godfrey in a coordinated operation at Tudunwada, Lugbe and Piakasa area of Trademar. According to him, The suspects were linked to high-profile kidnapping cases in FCT and its environs, saying all the suspects have confessed to their crime and are given useful information to aid the arrest of other gang members. And now to a sad development. Tragedy struck on Agbado Road in the Toyin area of Ifako, Ijaye local government area, Lagos State, as a gas explosion ravaged through the bustling streets. In the aftermath, 18 shops reduced to rubble, their contents devoured by the flames. According to Margaret Adesheye, Director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the catastrophe unfolded when 6 75 to 50 kg gas cylinders were being unloaded from a mini truck at a gas station. The spark of disaster ignited, consuming everything in its path, including the mini truck. As the flames leaped across the street, the devastation spread, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The cause was a single compromised cylinder head, a tiny flaw with catastrophic consequences. Today, the community mourns the loss of livelihoods as the echoes of this tragedy reverberate through the hearts of all affected. As Bayelsa State Governor Duoye Diri is sworn in for a second term in office on Wednesday, expectations are high that he would quickly record big wins in the area of healthcare delivery, infrastructure development, agriculture, youth empowerment, and improved water supply. Residents of Bayelsa State who spoke to Trust TV ahead of the inauguration are looking forward to a robust re-engineering of the socio-economic fabric of the state to justify the confidence reposed on him. Jonathan Awanyai completes the report.
The second tenure inauguration of Governor Duoye Diri, Bayelsa State residents have urged the incoming administration to focus on healthcare delivery, road network, agricultural and improved water supply.
We get it right in terms of water. One of the complaints in Bayelsa State is we depend on those who hope to buy water. So if we can sit down, with the Commissioner for Water Resources, it should appoint somebody who have the know-how, the right knowledge to see that water flows in Yenekwa. Improvement of electricity, now that power has come into the concurrent list, it means that we too can generate our own electricity, and that
tried its best in almost all the areas. But what bothers us most is the youth development, because youth is made up of so many that they made up most of the electorates that have voted for him. So you should concentrate on the education of youths, development, empower them.
But I believe that this election is as a result of what he has done for the people of Bayelsa State. And so I also believe that having spent 4 years piloting the affairs of this state, doing all that he needs to do to uplift the people from poverty, my charge to him is for him to redouble effort, to build on those legacies, to build on those things that he did that has endeared people to him, to work more on them.
For the prosperity government to look into erosional issue, looking into building a facility that will tackle erosion in this state, so that when we have issues of flooding, do not affect the lives of people so much, like the cases we have experienced in the years back.
In an interview with Trust TV, Daniel Alabra, Chief Press Secretary to the Bayelsa State Governor, said Bayelsans should expect more developmental projects.
Bayelsans should expect from the governor to do better, and he has said so himself. He has given that assurance that his second term will be better than his first term in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of human capacity development, in terms of development in all sectors, whether in ICT, whether in even in sports, in bettering our performance in sports. In every sector of the state's economy, the government of Senator Doyediri has given that assurance that it will do better.
Governor Diri and his deputy, Lawrence Erujabo, will be sworn in for another term on February 14, 2024. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Yenegua.
Broadcasters in Nigeria say radio stations in the country are facing a number of challenges, limiting their chances of survival as profitable business. These challenges notwithstanding, radio, according to them, still remains relevant in information dissemination despite the huge influence of social media. They spoke on the heels of events commemorating this year's World Radio Day in Nigeria. Hamido Yegbade filed in the report.
Radio is one of the most dependable and widely utilized forms of media in the world for more than a century. Even with the advent of social media, radio is still relevant among people across the globe.
Radio came to Nigeria in 1932 and it has played a very veritable role in the involvement of the Nigerian nation. Radio is powerful because of its immediacy. Radio is powerful because of its affordability. Radio is accessible regardless of your social status, regardless of your financial status. You can afford to own a transistor.
Yes, people do actually listen to radio these days, but it's not as we used to have it back in those days anyway.
Because they even have keen interest in listening to radio because they believe they will extract the facts from radio stations much more than social media.
On November 3rd, 2011, member states of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization proclaimed February 13 every year as World Radio Day, and this was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012. The chief executive officer of a leading radio station in Osogbo, Osun State, Femi Adefila, said radio stations are facing serious challenges, particularly with the current economic crisis in the country.
The cost of energy has risen to an alarming proportion. And secondly, our major source of revenue, which is advertising, the budgets are strong. Most advertisers now are looking towards social media, the digital platform. Those are the twin problems that we have. But what is sustaining us is the fact that, yes, radio is a traditional means of mass communication, and we still have a preponderance of listeners out there that we need to satisfy them. What one needs at this time is to see content as the king. Broadcast is the content-driven business.
The theme for the 2024 World Radio Day celebration is Radio, a century of informing, entertaining, and educating. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Meanwhile, broadcast experts are advocating the establishment of specialized radio stations to cover areas hitherto underreported. In an exclusive interview, the manager of the first private radio station in Kano, Ado Warawa, said radio has over the years changed the religious and political perception of people in northern Nigeria for good. Warawa said areas of education, environment, as well as science and technology have remained underreported.
So I can say in Kano market, or generally in northern Nigeria, you can see radio contributed immensely, especially in this 21st century, in politics, in political enlightenment and religious enlightenment. Yes. But the other sectors, education, healthcare, environment, radio did not do much. You know why? Because people don't sponsor programs to educate somebody. We are now grappling with people to invest in education, healthcare, environment, and the rest, so that we can see more contribution of radio toward the societal development.
Similarly, in Bayelsa, Stakeholders in the media space emphasized the enduring significance of radio in society, asserting its irreplaceable role despite the rise of social media platforms. World Radio Day, initiated by UNESCO in 2011, commemorates the remarkable impact of radio in informing, entertaining, and connecting communities worldwide for over a century.
According to Onyi Singrebido, the business manager at Silverbird Reading 94.7 FM Yenagua, radio remains indispensable even in the digital era, serving as the most accessible means to reach diverse audiences instantaneously.
I don't think radio can die, even with the advent of social media. Radio cannot die. Even with your so-called transistor or so-called smartphones, you can get the radio and at any convenience. Even in your farm, you can just get a device and tune to the radio. Even our old women at the village, they easily tune to radio. Go to the north, you see so many of the northerners that with radio, 24 hours with radio. They are not on the social media, but they are with radio 24 hours, listening to what is happening all over the world, if such things ever happen. So the radio has have that potential to convince the public to believe in the radio, to believe in any system that the radio propagates. So I believe the radio still have that tendency to convince the public.
Similarly, Amanana Way Icon, program manager of People's 93.1 FM, and Gracious Fenana, a broadcast journalist, underscored the economic challenges and issues of patronage confronting radio stations.
World Radio Day, it is extra special because it's the one day where it reminds you of how impactful the job that we do is as broadcasters, especially on radio. When you see news or you hear news on social media, whichever one it is, look at it and say, okay. But when you hear it on radio, there is that unshakable authenticity that comes with what you hear on radio. And that's why radio is so special, that they create space in their lives, in their schedules every single day for the programs that come on radio. And normal economic challenge that we're facing right now.
Now is a time where a lot of persons are talking about economic downturn, and you still hear when clients, you tell them that, oh, diesel has skyrocketed, and then other things as well where we use in the station. But you still hear clients complain, oh, there is no money, and they want to price you down.
This year's theme, radio, a century informing, entertaining, and educating, highlights radio's continued relevance and adaptation to the digital age. From Yenagua, Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagua.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up in part 2. Structural defects pushes state government to seal up plaza. We'll bring you insights and details of this story and more after the break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thank you so much for staying. But if you're just joining us, this is the Trust TV News Update. Now let's take a look at a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Nigerian Senate passes vote of confidence on security chiefs after national security interaction. Police arrest notorious kidnapper, recover 9 million naira ransom payment. And now moving on to more stories. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike has expressed satisfaction with the progress of road construction in the territory. Wike made his feelings known while inspecting ongoing projects within the FCT. May 29 as delivery date, while inspecting road projects handled by Julius Berger and Arab contractors. The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike reviewed significant developments within the infrastructure landscape of the FCT. These projects include the Outer Southern Estate Phase 1, the Vice President's residence, and the Wuye Bridge leading to Zone 7. The minister assured residents of President Tinubu's commitment to transforming Nigeria into the nation of their dreams.
I think we're quite optimistic. optimistic that with the speed of work and taking advantage of the weather, we believe that by May, these projects will be ready. Of course, they didn't work for 3 days because of the construction workers strike. 3 days working strike. That took a lot of things out from them. But we believe that we will not have a repeat of that incident again. I will always plead with everybody that they should try as much as they can to pay their ground rent. We have published the last set. Those who are still in the one of 2023, we gave them till the 14th of December last year, after which we are going to revoke which. We are human. We believe that the things will not be as good as people expect, but we have extended it to another 2 weeks, after which we have no choice, if you don't pay, but to revoke the title document.
And now to the southeastern part of the country. The Imo State government has sealed up the plaza housing everyday supermarkets and other businesses located at Ikenegbu in Owerri, the Imo State capital. This follows an alarm raised by an Imo-based engineer, Kingsley Onwubiko, over structural defects noticed at the plaza. The move, according to the government, is to keep it out of operation pending when a proper integrity test and possible reinforcement will be done on it. Trustee Ajibade Praise was at the scene and filed in this report.
This is the plaza, and at the time we visited, officials of Owerri Development Capital Authority, OCDA, had sealed up the entire building, shutting all businesses cited in it. When contacted, officials of the agencies said they acted upon an order by the governor, Hope Uzodinma, whom they said does not want any incident of building collapse that will lead to loss of lives and property in the state. The engineer who raised the alarm described the move by the state government as a welcome development.
To point out these failures in our society. I am so happy that just a little post yesterday, His Excellency saw it, the governor of Imo State, and they proactively ordered OCDA to do their job. I'm happy this morning that OCDA, within 24 hours of my publication, OCDA has swung into action, sealing up the property, waiting for proper integrity test and assessment to determine major causes. The 2 causes will be total demolition, could as well be underpinning and restructuring of the failed sections of the house.
Recall that the state few years back had experienced a building collapse leading to loss of several lives and property. He maintained that his team are on the lookout for structures with similar cases to expose them and avoid any impending danger.
We just x-rayed one sample out of many samples which my consulting team they are working on presently. Most of our structures that have stayed more than 25 years in Imo State probably were not constructed by raw professionals. Having issues in the states. Most of them have been converted into warehouses and carrying point loads that are more stronger than its capacity, built capacity, and they're having issues. My consulting team, which I have formed, a voluntary consulting team, working on them, inspecting some of those major structures. So Imolites, wait for us. We are coming. We're going to hit hard to expose critical issues that can take lives in Imo State.
Though some residents of the state who patronize the supermarket may face some discomfort following its sealing, many acknowledge the fact that the government's action is in their best interest. They hope to see the problem fixed and normalcy returned. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
On the firing scene, tragedy struck on the Congo River near Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Monday as 2 boats collided, resulting in the loss of dozens of lives and leaving several individuals missing. In the aftermath of the collision, harrowing scenes unfolded as residents looked on in shock while rescue efforts were underway by small boats rushing to the scene. The precise number of survivors remain uncertain, as does the cause of the collision involving boats laden with passengers and cargo. Rivers serve as crucial arteries for transportation in the vast expanse of the Central African nation, given its inadequate road infrastructure. Unfortunately, such accidents are not uncommon due to overloading by boat crews. The majority of river traffic is managed by informal operators, contributing to lax adherence to maritime regulations. In sports, Jason Tatum scored 41 points in a dazzling display as the Boston Celtics beat the Brooklyn Nets 118-110 to extend their lead at the top of the NBA's Eastern Conference. The Boston Star also claimed 14 rebounds and 5 assists to help the Celtics to a fifth straight win to take them to 42-12 on the season. Jaylen Brown added 19 points with 16 each for Al Horford and Derek White. Boston are now 6 games clear at the top of the East. Tatum scored 31 of his points in the first half, and the Celtics led by as many as 23 in the third quarter before Brooklyn fought back in the fourth to make a game of it. And that concludes this news update at this hour. But remember, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. And Aisha Salihu, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you again.